What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Banter with Brooke. You guys already know it's your host, Brooke Podcast, and today's episode is, I just hit the counter. Today's episode is all about books. Woohoo! I recently have gotten into reading. I probably started reading about, maybe like fall of 2022. It is now the beginning of 2024. And reading is awesome. You've heard me talk about in other episodes that I think reading helps your mental health. It helps a bunch of things, really. And I have read 10 books since the fall of 2022, which that is not that many if you really think about how many people or how many books people read. But that is a lot for me, considering that I have not liked reading my whole entire life until then. We were forced to read certain books in school, like I can't even think of one right now. Oh, there was one, I think it was like The Picture of Dorian Gray or something, like so boring. There's just so many like long, boring books. So there was just a lot of long, boring books. So I just really had like a bad connotation with reading in my head. I don't even know if I just used that word right, but or association with reading. Like I've always associated reading with something I don't like. But once I actually started reading books I do like, now I absolutely love it. I have a goal in 2024 to read 15 books, which I don't know if I'm going to do it, but I'm going to try. I am on my second book of the year already, so I feel like that's kind of off to a good start. But I just wanted to make this episode into a book review and kind of read through all the books I've read, which literally 8 out of the 10 of these books are romance books. And even the other two that aren't like mainly romance have romance in them, because that is the kind of books I enjoy. So yeah, I have all the books actually sitting right in front of me. So I'm going to read you the back, like the summary of what the book is about, and give you guys my opinions on the book. There may be some spoilers because I'm pretty bad at explaining it, or I feel like I will be bad at explaining certain things without giving spoilers. But I'm going to give you a book review. I'm going to give you a rating of the book on a scale of 1 to 10. And I'm just going to give you my thoughts and opinions on each book and explain what each book is about. So the first book I ever read that got me back into reading was, you can probably guess, she's a very popular author right now. It is It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Just like I said that 8 out of 10 of these books are not romance, about 8 out of 10 of these books are Colleen Hoover. She just writes romance books and they're really good. I really enjoy her style of writing. So the first book is It Ends With Us by her. This is what it looks like if y'all want to go buy it. And the description of this book is: Lily hasn't always had it easy, but that's never stopped her from working hard for the life she wants. She's come a long way from the small town in Maine where she grew up. She graduated from college, moved to Boston, and started her own business. So when she feels a spark with a gorgeous neurosurgeon named Ryle Kincaid, I never knew how to pronounce it, but that's how I pronounced it, everything in Lily's life suddenly seems almost too good to be true. Ryle is assertive, stubborn, maybe even a little arrogant. He's also sensitive, brilliant, and has a total soft spot for Lily. But Ryle's complete aversion to relationships is disturbing. As questions about her new relationship overwhelm her, so do thoughts of Atlas Corrigan, her first love and a link to the past she left behind. He was her kindred spirit, her protector. When Atlas suddenly reappears, everything Lily has built with Ryle is threatened. With this bold and deeply personal novel, Colleen Hoover delivers a heart-wrenching story that breaks exciting new ground for her as a writer. It Ends With Us is an unforgettable tale of love that comes at the ultimate price. This book, guys, if you have ever read it, or if you are planning on, first of all, if you're planning on reading it, please read it. It is so good. And that book, if you have read it, you will understand why, since that's the first one I read, it got me into wanting to read more. Literally, it is so good. It is such a good love story. I feel like there is a very unexpected plot twist. At least for me, it was unexpected. And just, it's like so crazy seeing how everything plays out between Lily and Ryle and Lily and Atlas. And you really don't, at least I didn't know who to root for in the beginning. I'm like, oh, should she be with Ryle? Should she be with Atlas? And as you learn more and more of Lily and Atlas's past together, it's just so well written, and it is such a good story. The ending is also really emotional. I really enjoyed the ending. It made me tear up a little bit. It's a very, very good book. Most of her books also have like very juicy like sex scenes in them, which you already know. They're fire. So yeah, I will give that book, my first initial rating is like an 8 out of 10. It's very, very good. I highly recommend, if you guys are looking to get into reading and you like romance books, to start with that one, because stuff happens right away. Like, it doesn't, like, sometimes books take a while to like get into the plot. Like, it's like a very slow start. And those books are always kind of harder to read for me. But this book, I feel like stuff starts happening right away, and it's a very easy read. It is such a good book. And I want to talk about the book, like what happens in the book, but I don't want to give spoilers. But all I will say is that, oh, there's a movie coming out as well. There's a movie, It Ends With Us movie coming out, which I'm very looking forward to that. But yeah, it's very good. I'll just tell you, I'm not going to tell you the name of which guy, but the guy that I was rooting for, I stopped rooting for him. That's all I'm going to say. And highly recommend you read It Ends With Us. It gets an 8 out of 10 in my book. Also, I'm going in order of the books like I read. So like I said, that was the first one I read when I started getting into reading. So now the second one that I read is called Without Merit, and it's also by, here, let me get it focused, also by Colleen Hoover. This book was, okay, let me just read you the back first. It says, the Voss family is anything but normal, from the irritatingly perfect older siblings to the little half-brother who isn't allowed to do or eat anything fun. Then there's Merit. She collects trophies she hasn't earned and secrets her family forces her to keep. While browsing the local antique shop for another trophy, she meets Sagan. He's witty and idealistic and sparks renewed life into her, until she learns that he's completely unavailable. Merit retreats deeper into herself, watching her family from the sidelines. When she learns a secret that no trophy in the world can fix, Merit retreats deeper into herself, watching her family from the sidelines when she learns a secret that no trophy in the world can fix. Fed up with the lies, Merit decides to shatter the happy family illusion that she's never been a part of, leaving them behind for good. But when her escape plan fails, Merit is forced to deal with the staggering consequences of telling the truth and losing the one boy she loves. Honestly, this book was good, but it just was kind of strange. There was like weird details into it, but the ending, okay, I didn't really like it at first, and I still will say it might be my least favorite one that I've read just out of all of these other books that I'm going to explain to you, but it still was a good book overall. Merit, she was a very likable character. I did like her a lot. And when you do learn the family secrets that's it's talking about on the back, you will be like, because I forgot about them, and as I was reading that, I just remembered one or some of them, and pretty crazy. Oh my God, now I'm sitting here, I'm remembering like so many more things that I forgot about. This book will get a 6 out of 10 for me. It was really good. Like I said, it was just kind of a slow start, and I was a little bit like, just like the details. I was like, okay, this is like very strange, but it is still very, it's all her books. Another reason I like them is sorry, I had to move the book over there. They're all very easy reads. They're very chill books. They're very good. They all have love stories, which romance is my favorite type of book. Sorry, I'm trying to unscrew my water bottle over here. I always get thirsty filming these videos. So yeah, Without Merit gets a 6 out of 10 from me. And it was a really good book. It's a great love story. The family secrets are crazy. There's something that one of her older siblings does that you find out, and it's very strange, but it's pretty good. And all these books I recommend. They were all great, but yeah, that's my opinions on that. I'm really, really, really trying my best not to give spoilers. So the third book I read was It Starts With Us, which It Starts With Us, you can probably guess. You would actually think it's the first one, but no. It Starts With Us is the sequel to It Ends With Us. So when this came out, I was so excited. I was like, oh my God, I need to read the sequel. So the top right here in the white says, before it ends with us, it started with Atlas. So the back of this one says, Lily and Ryle have just settled into a civil co-parenting rhythm with their daughter, Emerson, when Lily suddenly runs into Atlas nearly 2 years after they last spoke. Elated that the timing finally seems to be right to give what they have together a real chance, Atlas asks Lily on a date, but Lily's excitement is almost immediately replaced by dread and anxiety when Lily remembers that Ryle, though no longer her husband, is still very much part of her life. And though Ryle would dislike Lily dating anyone but him, Atlas Corrigan is the one man he absolutely will not stand having in his ex-wife and daughter's lives. Told from the perspectives of Lily and Atlas, It Starts With Us gives readers a deeper look into Atlas's past as he and Lily reconnect and rekindle the love they shared as teenagers while navigating a volatile ex-husband who believes Atlas to be one of the reasons his marriage with Lily ended. It Starts With Us picks up right where the epilogue for the glorious and touching It Ends With Us left off, giving readers the exhilarating sequel to Colleen's best-selling phenomenon they have been begging for. So now I can spoil some things, and It Ends With Us because it says Ryle had just settled into a co-parenting, so they had a child together, and It Ends With Us. And they also, you can tell her and Ryle did not end up together. So he was the one. I was really rooting for him at first. I really liked him, but you guys will find out why I stopped, and I actually hate him. But yes, this story is awesome. I love Lily and Atlas's love story as they fall deeper in love with each other. It's just so cute how they like had a past together and they rekindle it. And yeah, it is a very, very good book. And it does, again, this one, just like It Ends With Us, starts right away. Like it said, it starts right where It Ends With Us left off. And that book leaves off with her and Atlas running into each other. Or no, yes, it did. So super duper good. That one will get, I think it'll also, okay, I gave It Ends With Us an 8. I'll give this one like a 7.5 because I do think the original was a little bit better, but I also kind of forgot. I feel like this one was really good too, but I don't remember. This one can also get an 8 actually, because this one was really good too. And I loved that she made a sequel because I needed to know what was going to happen with their love story. Like I needed their love to continue. So I'm glad that it did. The next book I don't have with me because I borrowed from a friend, but the next book I read was called You Will Be Mine. It is by Natasha Patterson or Peterson, I believe. I don't know why I didn't write down the author, but I know the first name is Natasha. So if you look up You Will Be Mine, Natasha, whatever, it'll come up. And this book was really, really good. I still wrote the summary, the little description of it, but I don't have the physical book. The description of this one is the story of a university student named Lila and a group of her friends, Chase, Sunny, Isaac, Sienna, and Charlotte. They are being terrorized by an anonymous source leading up to Valentine's Day. Personally, Lila has never liked Valentine's Day due to her parents passing away 2 days before. So her parents passed away 2 days before Valentine's Day, like a couple years or maybe almost a year prior to when this book takes place. And she's in college. And this book, if you want a book with a motherfucking plot twist, read this book. This one, there is a little bit of romance in it, but the main focus of it is not the romance part. It is a great book. I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10 because I do like romance books more, so I'm going to rate those ones higher. But I thought that it was a really good book. The only thing I will say is I feel like there was a couple details in it that like just didn't need to be there. Like I would like read a part and I'd be like, that was actually so pointless to put in. So yeah, there was just a couple details that I thought were unnecessary, but it was very good. And like I said, it kept me engaged. The plot twist was crazy and just like not knowing what's next. Like they like this anonymous person like leaves them notes and like, it's kind of like a murder mystery. Like people keep dying and they're trying to find the killer basically. It's really a really good book, especially if you like mystery and murder mystery and those type of books. You will really like it. And I liked it also because it was a university student and like I'm around that age and all my friends are in college. So it was like a relatable book as well. Really, really good. Give it a 7 out of 10. And I highly recommend if you like mystery books. Next one, I also don't have with me because I borrowed it from my aunt when I read it, but it's called Verity. And that book is also by Colleen Hoover, and it is a very, very, very popular book. A lot of people have read it. That one's also a mystery kind of. I wrote it down, the summary of it as well. Verity is a suspenseful novel about a struggling writer who takes on a job to finish the best-selling series of acclaimed author Verity Crawford. As she delves into Verity's notes, she uncovers dark secrets that threaten her sanity and safety, which this book is insane. I forgot the main character's name. I don't know why I didn't write it down, but I forgot the main character's name. But you grow to feel very bad for her as this book goes on, and it is such an insane read. It ends with us and it starts with us an 8, and I gave the other one a 7. This one's gonna get a 7.5. It was very good. The one thing I will say about this one is the ending is kind of like up for interpretation, which I don't really know if I like that. Like there's an ending, but then you have to think like, so was this the truth or was this the truth? And I kind of like it, kind of don't. It's good because like some of my friends have read it, so then we'll talk about it together and be like, well, what do you think really happened? No, what do you think really happened? So it's a good book if you're in like a book club because you can have like a really good discussion about it afterwards. Just like the other one, I will say this about mysteries. They're very engaging because you really want to know like what is going to happen next. This one's also very creepy, very weird. It's a very good book. Everyone I've ever read or everyone I know that has read it has said very good things about it. I also really highly recommend this one if you like mysteries. this one's not really a murder mystery. You're not trying to like figure out who the killer is, but when it says she uncovers Verity's notes and there's dark secrets that threaten her sanity and safety, there's some dark shit, all right? Like, that shit is insane. I actually just remembered how actually good that book is. So, highly recommend you all go read Verity after you watch this podcast, because reading is good for you. Next one that I read, now the rest of them I have with me, is, you guessed it, Colleen Hoover. This one, Ugly Love, y'all. This book is, oh my gosh, so good. This one says, it's not exactly love at first sight for Tate Collins when she meets the tormented and secretive Miles Archer. They wouldn't even go so far as to consider themselves friends. The only thing Tate and Miles have in common is a mutual physical attraction that can't be denied. Once their desires are out in the open, they realize they might have stumbled upon the perfect no-strings arrangement. He isn't looking for love, and she doesn't have time for it, so that leaves just the sex. What they've got could be surprisingly satisfying as long as Tate can stick to the 2 rules Miles has for her. Never ask about the past, don't expect a future. They think they can handle it, but everything is different when real emotions start to change the equation. This one gets a 9 out of 10. This one is so... Actually, no. This one gets a 9.5 out of 10. This book made me cry. This book, there were tears in my eyes at the end of it. Once you guys find out why Miles doesn't want her to ask about the past, y'all will lose it. If I recommend, actually, there's another one down here that I recommend. If I recommend any book for you guys to read after you watch this podcast, please read Ugly Love. It is near and dear to my heart. It is so good. And also everyone I know that has read this book has also loved it so much. It is such a good book, you guys. Like, and there is a lot of sex scenes in this one, as you can tell when it says they're not looking for love, so that just leaves the sex. So if you guys like really spicy romance books, this one's for you. And oh my God, and it also says these 4 little things right here. It says hearts get infiltrated, promises get broken, rules get shattered, love gets ugly. Oh my gosh, you guys, like, when you for real find out why Miles doesn't want her to ask, when you find out about Miles' past, you will lose it. And it is really, really good. Miles is a pilot and Tate is going to school, and she's staying with her brother Miles, and Tate's brother are best friends. And it's so good. It's very spicy, very emotional. Highly recommend. If you're going to read any book, especially if you're just starting to get into reading, read Ugly Love. It gets a 9.5 out of 10 for me. Next one I read is another one that honestly made me cry. It is Reminders of Him. All of these are by Colleen Hoover. And this one was very, very good as well. The back of this one says, after serving 5 years in prison for a tragic mistake, Kenna Rowan returns to the town where it all went wrong, hoping to reunite with her 4-year-old daughter. But the bridges Kenna burned are proving impossible to rebuild. Everyone in her daughter's life is determined to shut Kenna out no matter how hard she works to prove herself. The only person who hasn't closed the door on her completely is Ledger Ward, a local bar owner and one of the few remaining links to Kenna's daughter. But if anyone were to discover how Ledger is slowly becoming an important part of Kenna's life, both would risk losing the trust of everyone important to them. The two form a connection despite the pressure surrounding them, but as their romance grows, so does the risk. Kenna must find a way to absolve the mistakes of her past in order to build a future out of hope and healing. This one is so sad. Honestly, this one really makes me sad. And all of her books, besides Verity, I guess, all of her romance books have good endings, which I love that because that is so satisfying for me. I hate when like the book ends like horribly or like so sad. I'm like, are you kidding? That's how I have to go on, just knowing that that's how the fucking book ended. This one had a very good, satisfying ending, but just like the story of why she went to prison and just her really trying to get to her daughter. This one's also very emotional. It's very good. I highly recommend. This one will get, this one will get an 8.5 out of 10. I really, really liked this one. This one also made me tear up. I don't know. It didn't make me cry as hard as Ugly Love, but it still did make me tear up a lot. It is very, very good. I really like Ledger also. Like Kenna and Ledger's relationship as it grows is really cute. It's a good ending. It's a very deep book. Like it gets very deep. And I'm sorry if I'm explaining these things horribly. I'm really trying. I'm not a fucking book critic. I don't know, but 8.5 out of 10 in my book. We have a couple more books left. So next one I read after that is called Heart Bones, which this one also was amazing. This one says, Bea Grimm has only ever known a life of poverty and neglect. After surviving by any means necessary, she finally has a hard-earned ticket out of Kentucky with a full ride to Penn State. 2 short months before she's finally free, an unexpected death leaves her homeless and forced to spend the remainder of her summer on a peninsula in Texas with a father she barely knows. Begging the summer to go by quickly and hoping to remain as invisible as possible, Bea wants nothing to do with Samson, the wealthy, brooding guy who lives next door to her father and who couldn't possibly understand where Bea's coming from or what she's been through. But with an almost immediate connection too intense for them to deny, and futures leading them to opposite ends of the country, Bea and Samson decide to stay in the shallow end of a summer fling, neither of them realizing that a rip current is about to drag both their hearts out to sea. This one also I loved, and it was so relatable because it said she was about to go to college, so it was also about people that were around my age, so it was really good. This one was probably my favorite. I don't know, they're all so good, but like after I read each one, I'm like, that one was my favorite. That one was my favorite. But this one like was so good. And I absolutely loved their love story. This isn't really a spoiler, but you can assume that her mom died because then she had to go live with her dad. So yeah, when it says, poverty and neglect and stuff, her mom was a drug addict and she passed away in like the beginning of the book. So that's another good thing about this one. Her mom passed away. Well, it's not good that her mom passed away, but it's good that like that happens right in the beginning, so it gets you hooked right away. And it's a very good love story. It makes me sad because Samson, the wealthy boy, also has an unexpected story that you will learn in the book, and it's just a very heartfelt book. I don't understand how she's such a good writer. Like all of her books are written so well, and I loved their love story. This one had such a satisfying ending. I forgot if I rated this one. I will also give this one, what'd I say for Reminders of Him? 8 point, no. Yeah, I gave Ugly Love 9.5. I think I gave the Reminders of Him an 8 or an 8.5. I will also give this one an 8.5. It was, I'll give this one an 8.5. It was very good. And literally all of these were just great love stories. Samson's life, unexpected plot twist. Her mom passes away. There's just so many like secrets, so many things like you keep finding out that really keeps you engaged in the book, in my opinion. So highly recommend. And now I have technically 3 more books to go through. Next one I have is called Confess. And ooh, this one I loved very much. So this one says, Auburn Reed has lost everything important to her. In her fight to rebuild her shattered life, she has her goals in sight and there is no room for mistakes. But when she walks into a Dallas art studio in search of a job, she doesn't expect to find a deep attraction to the enigmatic artist who works there, Owen Gentry. For once, Auburn takes a chance and puts her heart in control, only to discover that Owen is keeping a major secret from coming out. The magnitude of his past threatens to destroy everything Auburn loves most, and the only way to get her life back on track is to cut Owen out of it. To save their relationship, all Owen needs to do is confess, but in this case, the confession could be much more destructive than the actual sin. In her magnificent and exceptional style, Colleen Hoover delivers once again a deeply moving story about how true love and family are ties that can never be broken. This one is so good, and the way she writes about Owen, like, honestly, he sounds like the hottest, in my opinion, out of all of the books I just listed, talking about Ryle, Atlas, Miles, Samson, Ledger. I think Owen sounds the hottest. I mean, first of all, like, imagine, like, he owns an art studio, and it's really cool because his art studio, in the book, he paints art. This one, okay, this might be spoiler, so spoiler, sorry. He has a little box outside of his art studio, and he collects confessions, and he paints pictures based off of anonymous confessions that he gets from people. And in the beginning of the book, it literally says, let me flip to it. It's literally real confessions. This is what it says right here on this page. The confessions you read within this novel are true confessions submitted anonymously by readers. This book is dedicated to all of you who found the courage to share them. So all the anonymous confessions, at one point in the book, they're like going through a box of all of them that he has. They're all real people's confessions, which is actually crazy because there's one in there that's so terrible. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's actually heartbreaking. But like, that's so like hot and mysterious. Like, he takes random people's confessions and makes painting and makes art out of it. And just like the way he like fights for Auburn so hard in the book, like, he just wants to protect her so much. Like, ooh, yes. Like, I love an artsy man. And it is such a good book. This one, I will give a 9. I gave Ugly Love a 9.5. This is a 9. This one is so good. I really loved it. I just loved like all the other ones. This one didn't have, from what I can remember, that much sex in it, but I feel like I kind of liked that. Like, the others were like very much sexual, which I obviously liked those ones too, but like, this one was very much giving, like, he just loved her. Like, you could just tell how much he really cared about her. And they also had like a weird tie from their past. Somehow I remember he like knew her, and she finds it out. I don't know. And when you find out what he does, like what his confession is, it's pretty crazy. And this is a spoiler, I guess, but her trying to get her life back together is she has a kid and she doesn't have custody of the kid right now. And she is trying to get custody of him. But her son's uncle, I believe, is like a police and knows stuff about Owen and all this stuff. Really good book. I loved this one. It is a 9 out of 10. No, this next one I'm about to tell you guys is the most recent book I read. I literally finished it I finished it not even a month ago, and I bawled my eyes out. I literally cried so hard after finishing it. It is Me Before You. This book is by Jojo Moyes. I don't know how to pronounce the last name, so sorry if I completely butchered that. This book, you guys, oh my gosh, the saddest fucking book. I love this book more than anything. It really, really hit home for me. The other ones were sad too, but like Ugly Love, I teared up. Like this one, I actually cried for like 10-15 minutes after I finished it. It says, Louisa Clark is an ordinary girl living an exceedingly ordinary life. Steady boyfriend, close family, who has barely been further afield than her tiny village. She takes a badly needed job working for ex-master of the universe, Will Traynor, who is wheelchair bound after an accident. Will has always lived a huge life, big deals, extreme sports, worldwide travel, and he is not interested in exploring a new one. Will is acerbic, moody, bossy, but Lou refuses to treat him with kid gloves, and soon his happiness means more to her than she expected. When she learns that Will has shocking plans of his own, Lou sets out to show him that life is still worth living. Me Before You brings to life two people who couldn't have less in common, a heartbreakingly romantic novel that asks, what do you do when making the person you love happy also means breaking your own heart? This book is also a movie. Me Before You is a movie from a couple years ago. It's definitely not new, and neither is this book. Does it say in the beginning, like when it was made? Let me find this out for you guys, because I don't know how to find out when it was made. Okay, so yeah, I believe it was published in 2012 and published in Penguin Books in 2013. So I think then the movie came out a couple years after that, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not a new book by any means, but if you haven't read it, I highly recommend. My friend got this book for me for my birthday, but I just got around to finishing it a couple weeks ago. And it is amazing, you guys. I bawled my eyes out. It is the best love story ever. It is so heartbreaking. The ending, though, was very, very sad. It was good, but like, ugh, it was just a horrible in the best way possible. So well written. This one did take a little bit to get into it, but once I was in it, baby. Like, I wanted to know so bad, but then towards the end I didn't, because I'm like, I know it's going to be sad, because my aunt already was telling me that she like cried so hard after she read it. I was like, oh, but this one gets a 9.5 this one gets a 10. Honestly, if I'm being honest, this one gets a 10 out of 10. It was such a good story, so well written, so emotional. I am a very emotional person. Like, it doesn't take very much for shows or movies or books to make me feel things, but this one really, really made me feel things a lot. And I love that. I love movies and shows and books that can make me cry and make me get so attached into the book. Also, I saw a TikTok the other day, and it was like, some people don't picture like a movie in their head when they read. And I was like, that's crazy. Then why do you read? Like, I literally picture when I'm reading something, it's like he picked her up and spun her around. Like, I'm literally picturing him picking her up and spinning her around. Like, how do you not just picture it in your head? I don't know. But this one is so good. And if you're going to read I know I said read Ugly Love. My top 3 would be Ugly Love, Heart Bones, I think, or no, Ugly Love, Confess, and this one. But I honestly can't pick a favorite. They were all so good, and they're all love stories, but they're all very different love stories. And now on to the last book. This is my current read. You can see I am not that far in it at all. This one's called November 9th by Colleen Hoover. And this one says, Fallon meets Ben, an aspiring novelist, the day before her scheduled cross-country move. Their untimely attraction leads them to spend Fallon's last day in LA together, and her eventful life becomes the creative inspiration Ben has always sought for his novel. Over time, and amidst the various relationships and tribulations of their own separate lives, they continue to meet on the same date every year, until one day Fallon becomes unsure if Ben has been telling her the truth or fabricating a perfect reality for the sake of the ultimate plot twist. Can Ben's relationship with Fallon and simultaneously his novel be considered a love story if it ends in heartbreak? Ooh, I'm so curious. I don't even know if I ever read the back of this yet, but right now I'm not anywhere close to where it says every year they continue to meet on the same day every year, which I'm assuming that day might be November 9th. No idea. But right now, like, they're still like, it's her last day in LA right now. And right now he was going to help her pack. Like, she started packing and he asked her on a date and they're going to go out to dinner. That's where I'm at right now. They haven't even went to the dinner yet. But I've heard really good things about this book as well. I've also heard it's very, very sad, and I'm not excited if it ends in a heartbreak. Hopefully the book doesn't end on a heartbreak. Hopefully there's somewhat of a good ending, but I actually need to read this. I haven't read it in a couple days, and I need to get a move on with it if I want to meet my 15 books this year goal. I have this app, not sponsored, but y'all should sponsor me. It's called Goodreads, and you can track all your books. You can track your progress, like how far you are in the book. You can mark books that you've read, mark books you want to read. I actually have friends on the app. Like, you can follow and become friends with people, so you can see like me and my two friends, we always read. They're way better readers than me. They read way more often and go through books way quicker, but we are friends on there, so I can see like how far they are in their books, and they can see my books, and I can see what they've read and everything. It's such a cool app. Highly recommend to get Goodreads if you want to get into reading. There's a bunch of different categories of books on there. So this book, November 9th, I don't have a rating on it yet because I have not finished it yet, but those were all of the 10. Well, I think this is number 11. Those were the 10 books that I've read, plus the one that I'm reading right now. I am so happy that I started getting into reading because it is so amazing, and it really helps me stay off my phone. And if I'm having like a stressful time, it just helps me escape reality a little bit and just go into a different world. And my advice for this episode is, if you just find the time to read every day and apply what you learn in real life, it can literally save you years of your life. And the posts that I saw that on like elaborated a little bit more, and I don't think you need to find the time to read every single day. I definitely don't read every single day, but I want to read more. It can actually save you years of your life. The post I saw, like, this person read this book and it made him realize that what he was doing in his real life was not his passion, and he like was going to school for something and then he didn't want to anymore. And a book made him realize that like there's books about every single topic you can ever think of. Spiritual, romance, sci-fi, mystery, like everything. Like, I really also want to start reading more wellness and like spiritual books because I've really gotten into my spirituality over this past year and continuing into this year. So I want to read more positive and spiritual books, as well as continue to read more romance books. And I think if you are passionate about something and want to know more about something, there's also like research books. Like if you just want to know more about a topic, read about it, because the internet is full of bullshit. You never know what's true, what's false that you're reading on the internet. So I just think if you say you don't like reading, I highly recommend you give it a chance. Just find a book about a topic that you're really interested in, and it can literally just make you a happier person. And in that person's case, it literally, like, now he wasn't wasting his time. Like imagine he stayed years and years doing something and then he realized that's not what he wanted to do. So, and I also just think it can save you years of your life just by making you a happier, more calm, stress-free person. Like just setting time aside to just be by yourself, read a good book. And yeah, that's my advice. Just my advice to all of you is just to start reading. Start with something you like and you can branch out to whatever you want. And I hope you guys enjoyed my little book review. I hope it inspired you guys to start reading, and maybe you'll even read one of these books. Or if you have read any of these books that I talked about this episode, please leave a comment down below what you thought about the books. I'm so curious to know your guys' opinions, or if you have any book recommendations, leave those in the comments as well. I love some book recommendations, except don't give me spoilers on November 9th because I'm still reading it. But all the other books, please let me know what you thought about them and give me some book recommendations. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Next week's episode is another guest episode. Super duper excited for that one. So I hope you guys will tune in when I upload that one, and please hit the subscribe button for me. It would mean so much. Give me a like I said, comment down below, and I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you next Saturday. Bye.